Minecraft 1.20 is off to a really great start. Between the bamboo blocks, the hanging signs, and the camels, there is something in this update which everyone loves at least a little bit. However, besides the unnamed update, there isn't an official title for this update yet, and that is a deliberate move by Mojang because they want to develop the update with the community's feedback. They want to make a great update the community likes too, which is going to involve taking a lot of feedback from the community about the game, which is why I've collected some of that today, as well as my response and my answer to the clear controversial decision they're gonna have to make regarding this update. By the way, if you want to subscribe to the channel, did you know there hasn't been a single confirmed case of a subscriber to the channel dying to a shark attack? But when it comes to people who aren't subscribed, I'm just saying it's not so fortunate, so do with that information what you will. Just like how you can take whatever you want from these ideas, but if you're Mojang, I hope you seriously consider adding them to the game, because everyone knows how enchanting works. You put bookshelves around an enchantment table, which is funny because it means you need to use the books to enchant the book if you really want to do it that way. However, this is a really fun system that only works with fake books. When you have a real bookshelf, even one filled with real books, these can be enchanted books in some cases, a real bookshelf will not currently enchant tools at any better level. What if these chiseled bookshelves actually worked better than regular bookshelves? What if when you filled a chiseled bookshelf with enough enchanted books, or regular books, I'm not down to discriminate, but what if you filled it with those and then it would give you higher level enchantments? Instead of seeing up to level 30, perhaps we could go up to level 40. There could be exclusive enchantments available only here, like efficiency 6 or stuff like that. But to balance this out, of course, rather than just making a better bookshelf and power creeping, what if every time you put an enchantment on something, it, instead of giving you just the pure benefits of sharpness 6 and even the possibility of mending perhaps, would also give you a big old curse? Wow, my sword is cursed and now I'd spent a lot of levels on it as well. That would be a really fun trade-off. In fact, we could make it cost more than 3 levels. We could make this cost a lot more, but we could have a really fun trade-off between more levels, more experience needed, but also getting really great enchantments that come with a bit of a curse. Because right now, curses in Minecraft are only used to troll your friends. No one would seriously use them in a single-player world, but what if we had additional curses? I mean, as a really fun idea, what if we had the destruction enchantment? So this meant that when you use a tool with destruction on, it would never get the block back that you mine, and so instead of getting the bamboo blocks back from this, we'd instead get nothing. That would be a kind of big downside, but if you got efficiency 5 or 6 or 7, that might be worth going for, in my opinion. Having more curses and having maybe a table which balances curses and enchantments would be a really fun way to add them to the game in a more serious sense. Just like how, by the way, these chiseled bookshelves, they seem pretty fun by themselves, but one of the weird missing functionalities, even though they're a redstone item, is you can't actually hopper out the books. This is a full chiseled bookshelf. As you can see, it's got 6 books in there, but when you put a hopper underneath it, it does precisely nothing. But then also the other one that I think is maybe obvious is dispensers. What do you think happens when I've got this dispenser loaded with 9 books aimed directly at a chiseled bookshelf right here? Well, you'd be wrong if you assumed anything but the book for some reason flies off to the side. Also, yeah, the lever's upside down, but that's just normal place for levers, trust me. Why does this happen? I mean, Minecraft is weird, but I think it'd be cool if you could move books in and out of bookshelves. It'd be a very niche redstone use, but I think Minecraft redstone should behave a little more consistently. Just like how, by the way, when you break chiseled bookshelves right now, you don't get the bookshelf back. I don't know if that's intentional. You get the books back, but it'd be cool if you got the bookshelf itself. It feels weird that you don't. I guess you don't get the regular bookshelf back unless you have Silk Touch. Why is that? Why don't you get the full bookshelf? You know, it's kind of weird that... Okay, next let's talk about hanging signs. Everyone loves them, but there's a big debate as to how many characters should fit on these. On Bedrock, you can fit a lot more characters than you can on Java. Wow, you can go so big with the letters, but they become so small on the sign, whereas on Java, the way it works is you get very big letters, but you get very few of them. There's a big debate in the Minecraft community now about which of these ideas is better, but I think a really great solution that allows you to have your cake and eat it too is the idea of the double hanging sign. Instead of just one sign coming off from the side or down from a fence post, because there's lots of fun ways to do these if you really want to. Instead, we could have a double hanging sign. Right now, this is a way that it could look. Obviously, in the future, we could make it so the 2 sides blur together to make one super long sign, and this means you could have very big text, but also you could fit more than 8 or 10 characters of it on there at a single time. Personally, I think this is a really great idea. I also don't know why you can't do this by default right now. Like, I literally can't add my sign there, but still, I think it's a really fun idea that Minecraft should definitely be playing around with with a bit more than they are right now. I also think that while we're on the same page right here, I think having a hanging item frame, i.e. an item frame that can rotate to the side of a block, would be really cool if it could be supported in the right way. I think in the same way these signs hang off a post, it would be really, really fun if we had item frames which hung off a post as well. And yeah, it'd also give us more blocks to walk along, because I really like this as a functionality of the hanging sign. I mean, there's just something a lot more real about standing on a sign and actually being able to feel it below your feet. I mean, feel things as much as you can feel anything in Minecraft, besides your dog dying for the first time. But the interesting point here to make is that hanging signs are pretty great, would be great as a double, and hanging item frames would be really fun too. I guess at that point you need to add hanging glow item frames as well, and then you need to think like, well, why don't we have double hanging item frames? And I see where the complexity in that can come from, but I think more options for creativity and self-expression would be a very good idea. Like, these new bamboo planks really allow me to express myself, and myself is actually just a desert well, fun fact. But yeah, I can make the most beautiful build in Minecraft if I really want to, but I can also use these exact same bamboo planks and I can craft myself a bamboo raft. This is a bit of a weird one. Personally, if you look at the recipe for this boat, it doesn't match what you actually get in the end. In my opinion, when looking at this, it's clear this should be made from bamboo sticks. I think given that they made the boat model different on this boat to every other one, it also makes sense that it's crafted slightly different. Either don't put the shovel in there like the rest of the boats, or perhaps we could say, go the other way on this. We could say that, okay, we're gonna have the shovel still be there, but on the other hand, it's gonna be made from bamboo itself. I think that the circle hole, it literally has a bamboo shape to it. I don't see at all how these bamboo planks, which, admittedly are made from sort of lines, I don't see how 5 of these turn into one of those boats, whereas I could see how 5 bamboo sticks, or if we're being honest, it'd be 9, or maybe they changed the model, but I'd see how having that would actually work a lot better. Also, the bamboo raft is a bit of a confusing one to me. It is a very different model to all of the other boats, but it has every single one of the exact same functionalities. So it won't break when running into stuff, even as precarious as it looks, it's perfectly fine. It also has the power of storing 2 people on there at the same time, which really doesn't make any sense. I mean, you can see I should barely be sitting on this to begin with, so I think it would be great if they added some different functionality to the bamboo raft. I think a good idea would be that it can go faster, but only hold 1 player as an example. I think another good idea could be that, maybe it's got a slightly riskier chance of doing things in exchange for that speed. I think giving the bamboo raft drawbacks and trade-offs is actually the way you make an interesting block, whereas right now, this is a boat in everything but texture, and if it's just a slightly different texture, then why do we need to, and giving it a different name and texture just seems like they're trying to make bamboo special in a way that I don't really personally understand. So the bamboo raft definitely could do with some help. Something else I don't understand is camels, by the way. Don't get me wrong, they're incredibly cute, but they're mostly going to be useful for 2 players in the early game. Obviously, they can't compete with the elytra in the late game, and obviously, if you're trying to get somewhere quickly, you'd use the horse, so it's for 2 players exclusively needing to get somewhere, and it's mostly before you have access to faster methods like boats on ice or elytras. However, this means that it's really strange for single players who really would only use this for its weird dash attack. I think an easy fix would be adding the chest to the camel as the second slot for single players. However, they've said before, this is something the mule and the donkey have, and also the llama. They don't want to take this away, and so instead of making this mob a chest mob, how about it can hold any other mob in the game? It could hold a villager, it could hold a wolf, it could hold something else for you, and then single players would be incentivized to use this to get various mobs around their world. I think the camel is meant for these long treks, and although having a multiplayer only mob is great, personally, I don't like playing with friends. I don't even have friends, and if I did have friends, you know what? I wouldn't play video games with them. I'd use video games as my time to retreat from the world, and I think a lot of people fall into the same boat, which is why there's so many insane solo Minecraft builds and slightly fewer multiplayer Minecraft builds. I mean, the idea of an SMP actually working together is quite a rare thing to pull off, which is why there's one huge one, and then there's a few kind of big ones, and that's just about it. Even for these worlds where you want to make these big projects, even in the early game, even with multiple players, I think it's kind of tricky to get a saddle for the camel right now, which is why if you want to make the camel more usable to 2 players, just kind of hopping into a new world, doing their new thing, I think it'd be great to make saddles spawn in deserts slightly more commonly. You could do this via the desert temple, but I think the best way would be desert villagers have a slightly higher chance, of spawning saddles in their chest. This would be great not only for riding camels, but then also players would know if you want to find a saddle to tame your horse, then you could come right here to do it. Obviously, this would have to be balanced with trading with the leather worker or fishing or the ravager, but I think just having a slightly higher chance would allow for more fun, off-the-moment opportunities. By the way, this update, I'm mostly mentioning here the ways they can improve features in this update. Like, yeah, of course the camel would be better with extra jump power, but I also think it's worth mentioning that improvements to existing features aren't the majority of what will make this update great. I think a lot of the great things that are going to come from this update are going to come from straight-up community suggestions, and that's why if you have any ideas about self-expression or storytelling, leave them in the comments down below. Personally, I think an easy but valuable suggestion would be adding stairs and slabs to more blocks. I think concrete is an obvious example, but I think that there are so many other great ideas that I'd love to read in the comments down below. I'll be upvoting some of the ideas I like the best, and hopefully you can do the same, and then if anyone from Mojang happens to watch this video, they can go down there and maybe have a great idea to take back with them, because you know what, the lazy idea of concrete stairs is nowhere near as good as the top comment, which I'm gonna read out to you right now. It is...